Yep. G'day, listeners and members. Just thought we'd take a little bit of time out to run over the ratings wrap from Saturday at Caulfield. It was a really disappointing day. I really felt that generally over the course of the day, I was quite happy with the figures. Just upon doing some reviews and whatnot, it's just pretty obvious that some of the decision making and the tactics, I guess, of how to use them strayed a little bit from what we've been doing over more recent times, and in all, that's probably the most disappointing thing. So it's obviously always disappointing to lose. But it's a lot more disappointing to lose when you look at how you sort of behave throughout the day, and you probably you shouldn't have lost. So I'll just run through this, and it's especially for new members. Just I'll just point out a few things, and I sort of know myself, and I'll try and clarify it as much as I can on this recording. If I had my time again, what I would do and why, and obviously, after we had a bad run through winter, that the strategy that we implemented was to really tighten the belt, and betting 24 units on Saturday is not the way I want to operate. So I'll just sort of run through it. So look, race one, we ended up backing 4 horses and spending over 3 units, and in the end, we sort of didn't get close. And if we're sort of having a look at the race and how we operated, I know that when you've got a horse with the jockey rank 12 or trainer rank 11, they're just very poor bets historically. So in the end, we've sort of lost 3 units, and the bet here and the way we probably should have played the race. Again, looking back at how we've managed to claw our way back, and the way we want to operate going forward is to either say we don't bet here, or we've got some decent the top raters overs, and we've got some decent rankings along the top there. That's probably how we should have played that race. To bet 3 units in that race, looking back, it's just not right. And I guess in the end, the tactic we should have employed there was to back Mattagilla one out and spend around a unit, or not bet at all. So definitely we could have saved a couple of units there. On to the next race, and this is a race I was quite happy with. These are the style of plays that we want to be operating with. The good value here was Firehouse Rock. We had him marked $4, and in the end, it was a good result. And Maracaba was getting out to the price, and we saved on him. There was a couple of little queries I just had with him, so hence the saver. And in the end, we spent 1.75 and got back around 8. So that really. Race one's a really good example of how we don't want to operate, and race two's a really good example of what we're all about. So race 2 was a good result for us. On the race 3, and really can't knock the strategy here. I really thought that Craftiness was a really good chance. Unfortunately, he just ended up going way too hard on him, and he blew up, and Kuro decided that they'd work over as well, and he got caught in a bit of a speed battle. So in the end there, 2.87 out for nothing back. And I was pretty confident with the race, but in the end they put the speed on for Sabatini, who we thought we'd need further. And again, if we're just sort of hovering around and looking, we've got a jockey 4 and a trainer 1. So it's really important, these rankings, when you're doing your betting. On to the next race, and another 2.87 out for nothing back. Albonetti, got out to even $5, I think. So, this was a pretty good race for us. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out, and what happened was Excess Knowledge couldn't quite peg back Black Tomahawk, and again, Jockey Ranking won. So, throughout the course of the day, you just sort of notice that these rankings, although they're already worked into the price of the rating, just, being able to look back historically, we can get a real clear picture of the ones we probably should be avoiding. But look, in all, there really wasn't a problem with how we operated here. I guess we're pretty keen on Albonetti, and whether or not Dunn should have. Some people are from the school of thought that he was right pushing on. I really thought that he should have taken the sit, and he probably then could have been able to be part of the mid-race move, or at least be working home instead of being sort of stuck. But in the end, we had a second there, and it didn't go our way, which was fine. Look, if I had my chance again here, I probably would have gone a small each way play on Super Cash. There wasn't really a lot of value between the top two, and it was quite an even race. So, we've got here again, the better jockey on the ranking figures and whatnot. So it was obviously a race that was quite even. If we take a look at Miss Gunpowder, she was #1 speed and #2 jockey. So I sort of lent the way of the exposed class here as opposed to the speed. And certainly, as you can see, had we gone speed, Miss Gunpowder would have been on top. So it's all about a balance, and sometimes it's difficult to achieve when you've got a couple of things conflicting. But I sort of know historically that, looking at these set weight 3-year-old races, class is the way to go. So, in the end, I was pretty happy with what we did here, but it's probably, just looking at the style of runners and the speed and whatnot, we probably could have just backed Super Cash each way, but not really, not really a big issue there in that race. On to the next, and they went really hard here. Look, again, can't really fault a lot of what we did here. With Ready for Victory. In the end, it was just a real fast tempo race, and they he got too far back, so he was never in it. With the other couple, Puritan, as you can see there, jockey ranked 15 and 16. So, that's really not ideal. They're not the types of horses we generally want to, really be backing. And, Strike Force, I was quite happy with. But, in the end, I guess looking at this race, it was probably a race where we should have just backed Ready for Victory. And if he wins, he wins as being the top rated, because they have such a good record. And we've sort of probably spent 0.8 of a unit there that we probably shouldn't have. So already, if we're looking at race 1 and race 6, there's been a couple of errors in strategy that, I'd definitely change if I had my time again. And that's around 4 units that, we probably should have saved. On to the next race, and look, I sort of zigged when I should have zagged here. And, we've got the big red one there, and that sort of gives you a bit of an insight into what my thinking was. But I wasn't consistent with that through the day. And in the end, Mourinho has sort of got up. Look, the play here, was back Faulkner and save on the cleaner. So in the end, that's the way we want to bet. And we want to avoid those big red squares, and at the end of the day, Mourinho's one that got us, so be it. It happens. So probably despite the fact that an overlay's been missed there at in the long term, it's the right decision, I feel. However, in the short term, over the course of the day, the fact that we were backing most of the overs was a poor decision in the course of the day, and wasn't a great feeling after that race. On to the next race, and this is a race, another one that we probably got a little bit wrong. I don't, in hindsight, we probably could have really just focused on Disposition and Stratum Star. As you can see, really strong rankings in the Group 1 races. You get a lot of really good trainers, and there isn't a lot between all of them. So the trainer rankings in the Group 1 races, what I've noticed is they can sort of be put a little bit to the side, and you can sort of just go by name a little bit more. So, we're dealing with Darren Weir here, so we know how good he is. So look, probably if I had my chance again here, that the strategy is back Disposition and probably Stratum Star, and in the end that's probably out 2.2 units, and we're saving around 1.3 units. So there's around 5.3 units saved from just a really poor strategy on my behalf. Which obviously gets you 12.89 down to around 7.5. And then we go on to the last race, and we've bet another 2.8 units. And at the end of the day, the play here was probably to have a little bit on Zabrins, and early, we had a really good price for Jacquinot Bay. The ranking isn't quite there for Walker, but we had the strong trainer, the strong class and speed, and he was orange, so he just wasn't quite ready. We really need to try and avoid the red. So, probably a small each way play on Jacquinot Bay, and like a half by 1.5, and a little bit of a win bet on Zabrins, who was our top raider. Not going too hard. Again, if we, so the rankings sort of aren't there to justify going that hard. So, that's really the rankings. What they do is they're justifying how hard we should or shouldn't have gone. So, at the end of the day, we probably should have won on that race, and you got back, probably 6 units or 1.5 times whatever Jacquinot Bay a place was early, which is about $4, I think. So, with those adjustments and errors in strategy, we've ended up losing almost 13 units, and we probably should have broken even. So that's the disappointing part, and I'll man up and cop that on the chin. I certainly didn't handle the figures as well as I should have. So I'll put my hand up and take that, and we'll move on, and hopefully we'll be able to get that back. So thanks for listening. All the best. And if you've got any questions about anything I've said about rankings or all that sort of stuff, just send me an email and let me know, and I can give you a buzz, and we can take it from there. So thanks for listening. All the best. It's onwards and upwards. Sometimes you need to get hit in the face a couple of times to wake up again, and we're certainly awake. And as I said, I don't think that there was anything really wrong with the figures on Saturday. It's just more so how they were handled. So we probably bet a bit too much in races we shouldn't have been betting a lot in, and our strategy in some of the other races was a bit poor. So all the best. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you through the week.